A Steelport story. And it is a story about a boy meets girl, boy befriends girl, boy ends up hooking up with girl. Let's get into it. Ever since the downfall of the Steelport Syndicate and the sheer disappearance of the 3rd Street Saints, the Saints disappeared, and now 4 new gangs shows up and takes the Saints' place. Jack, as in Jackson Hamilton, who grew up in Stanfield, while Marlina Gutierrez grew up in New Colvin. They were born in a very, very downtown high-rise hospital, the Steelport Memorial Hospital. As the Steelport Memorial Hospital had 2 of them, which both Marlina Gutierrez and Jackson Hamilton ended up being birthed by their parents in the same hospital.
Something smells real.
As Marlina Gutierrez ended up saying, "I would love to enter Steelport Memorial Elementary."
Hello?
And for 4 years of her childhood, there was so much history that she has learned. And she was born 3 years after the Saints end up leaving Steelport. Then, and only then, when she said to her mother, "Steelport Memorial Elementary is the greatest school."
I'm the best you'll ever have, honey.
Then, in New Colvin Junior High School is when Marlina Gutierrez ended up taking in the new scenery. She meets Jackson Hamilton in elementary school, but she herself didn't talk to him until middle school, as Marlina Gutierrez ends up getting good grades in her school. She goes to an old Ivy League city-bound college called Joe Steele University. And she graduated ethical Pryor High School. And she started to work for Grits Tits at age 13, and then started working for various gas stations all throughout Steelport. While Jackson Hamilton grew up working for various book and magazine and newspaper stands, and working for Jack's Diner all through his teens. And then they somehow found themselves together working in a Steelport grocery store, as they were the only two employees who were also college friends at the time. And Jackson ended up asking Marlina to cover his shift, and he would cover hers in return. Whereas the big time show Nightblade was on the airwaves for a few more years. Then after so long, the super ethical reality climax show was canceled after 4 seasons. Then the murder brawl ended up being put to an end, and yet Marlina Gutierrez's parents met during when the Saints first arrived.
Nobody leaves until
And had been witnessing the Saints taking down Stag and the Luchadors, the Deckers, and the Morning Star. And for a long while, the Saints controlled Steelport. And then after that, when the Saints left Steelport, the Saints left Steelport, and then all kinds of schools popped up. 20 schools to be precise. But there was like schools within each district battling each other in a good wholesome games and statistic and education rates. as the other schools that were yet to have been named. And there was Lauren Square. There was Lauren Square Junior High. And then the Philly the very park, the Lauren Square based high school, Lauren High or Lauren Junior High, was located. And there was like the Sunset Park's own Park University, and then the Mills High School. All these schools were going to war of sports games and education and academic prowess. And there were so many of these schools. As the schools started gaining a lot of funding, Marlina Gutierrez graduated from her college that she shared with Jackson Hamilton. So Jackson Hamilton moved into the loft apartments in Brixton and lived with Marlina Gutierrez as his roommate and best friend. Then they ended up living in a much bigger place, but only then when they moved into a high-rise apartment in Port Pryor. They ended up moving in to that high-rise apartment building and got the very top floor. Then they went to work for a warehousing company that owned a subsidiary. The Oregon Black Market is the subsidiary that they were shipping a lot of stuff from the main from the main warehouse to the black market. And then they started getting heavily involved with each other. They went to the church right by a clothing shop in New Branis. And they got married. And after that, they started honeymooning into a new place, a rental penthouse downtown of Steelport. They scraped up their money and they rented it. And in the big penthouse room that they rented for about a month, they started fucking. They fucked in the upstairs room, in the jacuzzi outfitted bathroom, and in the bathroom, and in the jacuzzi, and in the pool. They also fucked in the basement of the penthouse. And then, over time, they moved to New Colvin, the birth district of Marlina Gutierrez. Now, Marlina Gutierrez was actually a sweet girl. Grew up idolizing a lot of superstars she saw on television. Though she wasn't a big Josh Burke fan, she heard about the very, very Josh Burke and Nightblade. Though she came from a Aztecan religious background. Whereas, as Jackson Hamilton came from a Scottish background. The very churches, the small church in New Colvin was the church that introduced the very religious dynastic and generational and cultural ties to her Mesoamerican background, as she was Aztecan American. Then she went to the cathedral in the same district, as it was a religious advancement in her spiritual growth, in her faith. Whereas her man, Jackson Hamilton, had his own religious background in the Scottish religion, because he was Scottish American and a very great dude. There was so much then, so much of it was predicated, though a small, an albeit small radio station called Faith-Based or Faith Myth Radio FM. And it was a radio podcast. And for a long time, they got preached to. There was variants of diverse beliefs. Though in an industrial city as such as Steelport, Marlina and Jackson Hamilton were properly represented in their religion and in their background. The church and the cathedral happen to be the only places that they have advanced to. From their small churches to their big cathedrals. It wasn't that they predicated it upon, but they had an interest, a invested interest in said such beliefs that shaped them. Though they moved to Carver Island, then, and only then, they decided to take up starting a Irish Aztecan church. Started with a big church. Then ended up having a cathedral, in which case the cathedral was located in the downtown area with a couple more churches established. They became the religious couple. And with them having a Henry Still Mills church and having a Sunset Park church and a Lawrence Square Cathedral. They were the two of the most religious, openly, outspokenly, out of the closet, religiously zealous couple running a small, very small chain of Scottish Aztecan churches. And they mixed their cultural ancestry and background as they openly celebrated all of their religious and spiritual accomplishments. As the two finally mixed, the Scottish gods and the Aztecan gods together in one super pantheon. They were polytheistic because they grew up that way. So they also did work regular jobs while running a Scottish Aztecan church chain, and got married in one of the churches in town. But when the very churches were making so much money, they finally were able to put a lot of down payments on paying for a lot of things. Whereas they started talking, and the whole thing And with that, Jackson Hamilton said to Marlena, I'm going to one of our churches. I need you to be ready for when I get back. I'm going to go and collect the tithing to pay the house payment, said Jackson Hamilton. And with a look of agreement on Marlena Gutierrez's face, she ends up saying and replying to Jackson Hamilton, okay, baby, I'll make sure to put all the money in the big envelopes to pay for the taxes that are due this month. And oh, Jackson, by the way, I am pregnant with your child, said Marlena Gutierrez. And Jackson ended up shocked and was in fact shocked about it. And after a while of being shocked, Jackson Hamilton said and replied to the announcement from Marlena Gutierrez, that's good, baby. Means that we have a Scottish Aztecan child. A Scottish Aztecan American child. That's a bit of both of us, said Jackson Hamilton. And they named their child James Gutierrez Hamilton, the son, the Scottish Aztecan American son of Marlena Gutierrez and Jackson Hamilton. And with the whole thing being going and ending up having James Gutierrez Hamilton, the son of Marlena Gutierrez and Jackson Hamilton, growing up in the downtown area and having friends in Carver Island. And James Gutierrez Hamilton joins the police force in his 20s, and then in his 30s and 40s joined the Steelport National Guard in his 30s and 40s. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story.